worsening of breathlessness for 3 years, initially to a pulmonologist. She reported that she was living with lung disease for 20 years and she was able to do all her activities. But over the last 3 months, she has been struggling to do activities of daily living. The pulmonologist evaluated her and found that from the lung point of view, there has been no significant change in her status. But he found that the pro-BNP was significantly elevated and so referred to us for further evaluation. When we saw her, her ECG at baseline showed a right bundle branch block pattern and her 2D echo showed a concentric LVH with a normal LV function, the severe aortic stenosis with a mean gradient of 36 and a valve area of 0.9. She had a calcified mitral annulus with a moderate mitral regurgitation and elevated PA pressures of 45 millimeters of mercury. So we were dealing with an elderly frail lady, 70 years of age, chronic lung disease with pulmonary hypertension, multivalvular etiology, severe aortic stenosis, moderate MR and TR, and a high surgical risk because of the lung disease and pulmonary artery hypertension. So we decided that we'll do a TAVI for her and manage the mitral valve conservatively. However, they took some time to make the decision, and in the intervening period, she developed acute cerebellar infarct with bilateral cerebellar infarcts. So at this point, we had to postpone the TAVI for 6 weeks. The patient needed neurorehabilitation and antiplatelet and heparin. And after 6 weeks, we took her up for a TAVI workup. A CT scan showed a significant aortic valve calcification and a coronary artery calcification. The lungs field showed an interstitial lung disease. She had a small anatomy with a perimeter derived diameter of 21 and coronary heights were favorable. But when we see her peripheral vasculature, we can see that there is a significant stenosis in the left subclavian. There is a significant calcification in the iliofemoral branches, and the abdominal aorta there is a nodule of calcium with a lumen area of only 6 millimeters. So there was a difficult peripheral vasculature. When we took her up for coronary angiogram, we can appreciate the amount of calcification in the vascular tree. The aorta is heavily calcified. The subclavian is showing a big chunk of calcium. There is a significant mitral annular calcification, and when we see the abdominal aorta, there is a big chunk of calcium with a significant abdominal aorta stenosis. Our coronary angiography showed a moderate stenosis in the mid-LAD, a stenosis in the circumflex, and a moderate stenosis in the RCA. So in essence, we were having multiple problems with this patient. She is elderly, she has interstitial lung disease with PH, making her unsuitable for GA. She has had a recent CVA, she has a right bundle branch block, making her high risk for pacemaker. She has multivalvular lesions, she has coronary artery disease which may require intervention in the future. She has a small annulus, difficult peripheral vasculature, unsuitable for alternate access because of GA and subclavian stenosis, unsuitable for cerebral protection because of subclavian stenosis, and high risk of periprocedural stroke and pacemaker. So at this point, generally what I like to do is just see if I put a balloon expandable valve, what will be the advantages and disadvantages. Balloon expandable valve would give a smaller size with higher gradients, but there would be a lower risk of PPI, easier access to the coronaries. But we would have to go through a large sheath, a 14 French, it would become almost 16 to 18 French. If we put a self-expanding valve, we will have supraannular platform which will give lower gradients, but there is a higher risk of PPI. You would have difficult coronary access, and we would go through a true 14 French system, but there would be need for an exchange of the sheath. So it would be best if we had something which would combine the best of both, which was supraannular with low pacemaker risk and low coronary access. That is where we thought we will take accurate neo for this patient. Because of the supraannular platform, it is suitable for small anatomy. Because of the upper crowns and the open platform cells, it can have a good coronary access if needed in the future. And one very underappreciated part of this device is actually the sheath. It's a true 14 French extremely hydrophilic sheath which goes through very difficult anatomies. So we went ahead with a transfemoral TAVI to the right side. We had a peripheral IVL and abdominal stent, aortic stent on standby. Standard procedure, pigtail from the left side in the non-coronary sinus, a venous pacing through the left femoral vein. And here is we can see that there was absolutely no difficulty in advancing the eye sleeve through this very calcified iliofemoral and abdominal aorta disease. Cross the valve using a AL2 and a Terumo straight tip wire, exchange it for a Safari. Like it has been emphasized many times, pre-dilatation and aggressive pre-dilatation is mandatory. We went ahead and pre-dilated with a 20 millimeter balloon. We then went ahead and advanced the valve through the difficult anatomy, and it very easily trackable because it can fold on itself, and there was no difficulty in advancing the valve. Got a beautiful commissural alignment. You can see this is a areocranial view with the 1-1-1 deployment, and then in the ariocaudal we could see the free cell is on the inner side. So got a good commissural alignment, making sure that we have good coronary access. This is the deployment with the upper crowns released first, then the stabilization arches, and then the step 2 deployment with the lower part. The aortogram then finally which showed a good free flowing coronaries and no paravalvular leak. And finally the abdominal aorta shoot which showed no evidence of any dissection or complications. Groin was closed with one perclose and one angiography. She only developed a complete heart block. We are happy to accept that. She got a pacemaker done on the next day, discharged on day 5. Now 3 months follow-up completed. She is a mean aortic gradient of 4. The mitral regurgitation is organic, persists, but BNPs have come down. She is stable with single tablet of diuretic. So it is a very complex case with challenges both from the patient and anatomy. Small annulus, need for coronary access, high risk of pacemaker, high risk of stroke, difficult peripheral vasculature. And proper planning and proper valve selection was a key in this case, and Accurate Neo2 combines the best of both worlds with an excellent delivery system. So very suitable in my opinion for our country, which small anatomy is common. We are doing TAVI in younger patients. We need coronary access in the future, and with a supraannular platform and good commissural alignment, I think this valve is very promising. Thank you.
A very good case. How old was this patient actually?
Just 70.
Huh?
70.
Before I go on to the questions, I just want to give you a small, the first case from India which we did from Apollo Hospital. We did all working in Delhi Apollo, but we took it in France because November 2011 it was not available in India. So we did the first case from India, but done by Dr. Alan Kibir and myself in Rouen, Charles Nicolle. He was 84-year-old, full nephropathy, on dialysis, poor lung functions, very bad, and also post-bypass with, of course, few grafts which were working, ejection fraction of 30-35% or 25%. And this case I want to highlight because he lived for another 8 years. It was Edwards XT valve at that time, not Sapien, November 2011. And he was done in 40 minutes exact time with conscious sedation without DE. And that was the accuracy and expertise of Dr. Alan Kibir, which I want to tell because I worked with him in 1996, 97, 98. So 2011, very bad patient, 84-year-old, full calcific Edward XT valve was used, and he did was only in 40 minutes. That was his, the speed of working in Charles Nicolle Hospital in France. So we are doing all these cases. I congratulate you for this very wonderful work. I just one question before we go on to. You said that balloon expandable would have been not a good choice in this case. Why do you say so? Just for the interest of the audience and for our learning.
If we had to put a balloon expandable valve, it would have been a 23. And in my opinion, if you put anything...
Because the coronary heights were not low in this case.
Coronary heights was not the challenge.
Yes.
The challenge was that she may need re-access. My main concern were two with the balloon expandable. One, we are using a small valve which will leave us with higher gradients. And second, in a balloon expandable valve, we have to go through a 14 French sheath which will expand to 18 French,
yes,
which may not have been accommodated in this very tight abdominal aorta.
And she's a lady, smaller peripherals.
It was so tight that if you can see, there was not enough space for the sheath and the pigtail.
It's very uncommon to have such a bad calcium at the age of 72.
So they have some genetic predisposition, I
right,
believe, in their family, probably cystic fibrosis. We are not. Her brother has interstitial lung disease, and even he has a very calcified vascular tree. So
You did the pacemaker permanent before discharge.
next day, because she went in complete heart block, because she had a pre-existing
I
heart.
mean, that is one disadvantage with always self-expanding valve, because you have more higher chances of having pacemakers.
Sir,
And that's a
of
major
all-
advantage in, of course, balloon expandable valves.
Of all the self-expanding valves, because Accurate Neo has the least opening radial force, the pacemaker rates are the lowest of all. If
Of
we
all
compare
SC.
between
Of all
Medtronic,
SC.
Navitor and Accurate.
Chirag, what was the backup plan for the aortic stenosis? You said you
So
kept
we
ready
had
and
we had a peripheral IVL, a 8mm IVL balloon is now available. So we would have been able to make it to a 8mm, then a balloon dilatation. If we had a dissection, then we had a covered Zephyr stent on standby and an interventional radiologist. Because it was the infrarenal portion, I don't think it would have needed a TEVA, but I think we would have had a covered stent.
Dr. Chirag, it was a great case and I really congratulate you. So, two questions. Did you plan to intervene the aorta before going for the valve? I mean, because you said it's 6 millimeters something like
Yes.
in the
The-
abdominal
the
aorta.
area was
So,
6.
instead of getting vascular colleague there and dealing with simple stenting there, don't you think you could have made your case? Sorry, it could have made your case less complicated. Suppose that you had trouble negotiating the delivery sheath to that narrow.
Then
What was
we
your
would,
plan?
the plan was to do IVL and then balloon it and then complete the TAVI. If there was a dissection or a perforation, only then put a stent. That was the backup plan.
And what about the coronaries? What you plan to do?
Coronaries, right now, she had no angina, she had heart failure. So all of them to me appeared moderate stenosis in the proximal right and the mid LAD. Circ was a non-dominant vessel which is stenotic, so we have kept her on antiplatelets. If she complains of angina or she has a coronary event in the future, we have got access now, so
I think
we can
that will
address
be
it.
interesting to say in future conference that you doing angioplasty to that vessel, showing the promise this valve offers. Easy access to
I think so. And now we have clear data that in the recent paper published that even if you have to address coronary, after TAVI is the best bet, not before.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Parekh. Good case, and I think we had a good learning in this symposium of Accurate Neo and other cases. And we move on to the next session now, which is Echo Dragon for transcatheter valve interventions. I think somebody else has to take over from this chairperson's. Dr. Ajit Mulasari is here, Dr. Vinod Vijan, Satish C. Govind, J.C. Mohan, Vinay Sharma, A.K. Omar, Jesu Parka, Keshav, Atik, Vinayak Agarwal. Vinayak is here? Dr. Omar is here. Okay, so you please take over, and thank you for coming and joining. It was a good session. Enjoyed by everybody, Accurate Neo, and now we have a echo guidance. Thank you.